Beijing, China, September 8, 2025. At a critical moment for international relations, Chinese President Xi Jinping addressed fellow leaders of the BRICS bloc, urging them to stay united in the face of global challenges and to strengthen cooperation. Speaking at a virtual summit hosted from Beijing, Xi emphasized that economic openness and collaboration are not optional but necessary pathways for stability and growth. From the start of his remarks, Xi made it clear that China sees economic integration as the backbone of global progress. Economic globalisation is an unstoppable historical trend. The development of all countries is inseparable from an open and cooperative international environment, and no one can retreat to a self-enclosed and isolated island. No matter how the international situation changes, we must remain steadfast in promoting the building of an open global economy, sharing opportunities and achieving win-win results through openness, Xi said, setting the tone of the summit. This statement underscored China's position at a time when many nations are struggling with protectionism, sanctions, and fractured supply chains. By framing globalization as unstoppable, Xi positioned BRICS not only as a bloc of emerging powers, but as defenders of international cooperation in an increasingly divided world. Xi also drew on metaphors to illustrate resilience in uncertain times. Only strong grass stands tall in a high wind, and only true gold stands the test of fire. As long as we shoulder our responsibilities, work together and help each other, the BRICS ship will surely withstand the tests of the changing international situation and always sail steadily towards long-term development, he declared. This vivid imagery highlighted his central message that the BRICS alliance must weather storms together. The emphasis on responsibility, solidarity, and endurance echoed China's broader push for collective security and mutual development, reinforcing the idea that only unity can safeguard growth in turbulent times. The BRICS bloc, originally made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, expanded in 2024 to include 6 new members: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, and the United Arab Emirates. Together, these 11 nations represent a substantial portion of the world's population, resources, and economic output. Xi's remarks carried particular weight given the timing. The global economy remains under pressure from geopolitical conflicts, energy insecurity, and the aftershocks of the pandemic. By stressing openness, Xi sought to reaffirm BRICS as a counterbalance to Western-dominated institutions and a platform for emerging nations to voice their priorities. China has long championed globalization, but with a model that stresses multipolarity rather than Western dominance. Xi's call to avoid self-enclosed and isolated islands was a veiled critique of economic decoupling trends seen in US and European strategies. For Beijing, BRICS serves as a vehicle to expand influence in the global south, offering alternatives to Western financing, trade routes, and partnerships. Xi's speech also aligns with Beijing's efforts to promote initiatives like the Belt and Road, which emphasize connectivity, infrastructure development, and South-South cooperation. His references to win-win results continue a consistent theme in China's diplomatic language, aimed at presenting its rise as mutually beneficial rather than threatening. Despite Xi's optimism, the bloc faces significant hurdles. The members differ widely in their political systems, economic structures, and foreign policy priorities. Russia remains under Western sanctions, India balances its BRICS role with close ties to the US, and new members like Saudi Arabia and Iran bring long-standing rivalries into the group. Xi's metaphor of the BRICS ship sailing steadily toward development acknowledged these challenges while urging unity. The test, however, lies in whether the group can translate symbolic declarations into practical cooperation. International observers noted that Xi's call comes as global institutions, such as the World Trade Organization and the United Nations, face growing criticism over their effectiveness. Many in the developing world view BRICS as a more responsive forum to address inequality in trade, finance, and technology. Xi's framing of globalization as inevitable stands in contrast to rising protectionist rhetoric in the West. For Washington and Brussels, the concern lies in whether BRICS will become more of a geopolitical bloc than an economic one, especially as it includes members with competing agendas. Ultimately, Xi's remarks painted a picture of resilience and forward momentum. By emphasising metaphors of grass in the wind and gold tested by fire, he portrayed BRICS as an alliance capable of enduring crises while charting a long-term path. The Chinese president's language was both poetic and strategic, seeking to inspire confidence among leaders while projecting China's role as a guiding voice in the bloc. His insistence that economic globalisation is an unstoppable historical trend suggests Beijing remains committed to its vision of openness, even as tensions with the West escalate. The summit itself symbolised the growing role of virtual diplomacy, with leaders connecting across continents in a display of solidarity. For BRICS, the immediate challenge will be turning speeches into coordinated action, whether through trade initiatives, infrastructure projects, or new financial mechanisms. Xi's address was not just about economics. It was about reassuring allies, signalling resilience, and laying down a vision for global governance in which BRICS plays a central role. His carefully chosen words sought to rally both new and old members around the idea that openness, not isolation, is the path forward. Economic globalisation is an unstoppable historical trend. The development of all countries is inseparable from an open and cooperative international environment, and no one can retreat to a self-enclosed and isolated island. No matter how the international situation changes, we must remain steadfast in promoting the building of an open global economy, sharing opportunities and achieving win-win results through openness. Only strong grass stands tall in a high wind, and only true gold stands the test of fire. As long as we shoulder our responsibilities, work together and help each other, the BRICS ship will surely withstand the tests of the changing international situation and always sail steadily towards long-term development.